Hi people, Nicholas here. I'm at the clump, which is Ella Hayes, and part of the estate that belongs to Killerton. So where I am now is called the clump, and it was a Iron Age settlement. Yeah, and the earthworks are still visible. This is part of the earthworks. Morning. So, and before that it was a volcano. You know, this is history people, stuff that's going on. This flat area here was, I guess, where the settlement was, the top of a very steep hill. It's definitely got a vibe about it. It's very atmospheric. I really like it. I like to come here and, I don't know, connect with the nature. So I thought I'd continue my story. Awakening to life. You know, the main events that kindled my awakening, I guess, to the spiritual world, which is very much integrated into our lives, whether we realise it or not. So shortly after the experience that I had with my granddad, I decided to pursue my investigation. I went to a spiritualist church in Exeter, and I think it was on my second visit. I was sat at the back, and the medium came to me. She said, "I'd like to work with you, sir. I've got a lady with you. She comes across on grandmother vibration." She says that she had a gift in a healing way. No, she had a gift in a way that she would listen to people. And she says, "You have a gift in a healing way." And that was really the core of the message. There was some other info, but it didn't totally sit with me because, well, my grandmother was still alive for one, so I think, okay. So, anyway, after I left, I went to see my mum. I didn't go with the intention of sort of asking her about it, but we were sat down outside, and it's a summer's day, and I told her about the message that I'd received from the medium. And my mum went very quiet for a minute. It's like she was hesitant. She wasn't sure whether she wanted to tell me or not. She said, "No," she said, "it was your great-grandmother, your granddad's mum. And she was a medium, and she was what they call a clairaudient medium." So clairaudience is when a medium is able to hear either in their mind, or sometimes it sounds like it's external, snippets of words, conversation, spirit talk to them, and they're able then to convey the message to the recipient. And that really clicked, because obviously the medium said she had a gift in a way that she would listen to people, and she said that I had a gift in a healing way. I guess I've always been very sensitive, you know. I'm a sensitive heart. I have a sensitive heart. Some people say soft, but it's not really. It's just being open to pain and not necessarily defending from it all the time. So that was like, way, yes. So that really continued to excite me and, I guess, kindle my interest in this avenue of inquiry. So I think also it's like when something happens to us, you know, like my initial experience with my granddad, it's like you're a taut string, say a guitar string, a violin string or something, and someone plucks you and you vibrate, start to resonate, and then because you're moving or resonating at a certain frequency, lots of other information starts to be accessible for you. You're able to connect to things that are vibrating on a much more subtle level, I guess. So yeah, so I thought, wow, that's amazing. it's quite astounding actually, because after the experience with my great grandmother, or the message from the medium, I sort of had a period of, I guess, about 4 days where I felt that I was really close to her. My great grandmother came from a Roman Catholic background. She came from a wealthy family. She was a trained concert pianist, and she met and fell in love with a guy called John, who was a Protestant, and decided to marry him. She was excommunicated from her family. They wanted nothing more to do with her because of this. So she mothered 9 children, and eventually the marriage broke down. John ran away, basically left her, went to America, left her with 9 children. So she had no income, no means of supporting herself. So she went from, being a pianist, a trained concert pianist, to scrubbing doorsteps. And she also then, I think, did mediumship in order to help make up the money. In the end, her heart gave up, she died, and my granddad and his 8 brothers and sisters went to an orphanage, which was pretty hellish. My granddad conveyed all this in memoirs. There's one particular very touching moment where I read in my granddad's memoirs that his mum and her dad had an argument, and the mum was sitting upstairs and my granddad was brushing or combing her long hair, and tears are rolling down her face, and he said his little heart could have burst for her. God, it really touched my heart, that. And I think that is one of the little catalysts that I use to connect with my great grandmother. You can connect to people through the love of another. I think the love is what connects us in life and beyond life. So I'll continue. So I decided then to continue my investigation, and I went to several more services at Exeter. Basically, it's just a bit of a sort of churchy service with a philosophical talk, a reading from a book. It doesn't have to be any book. They're not religious per se in the Christian sense. They do tend to believe in a higher power. And then there's usually some mediumship. So I went a few times. It really kindled my interest. And then I heard that there was a development group beginning, so with a medium called Marianne Belfield. So I thought, I'm interested, because I knew that I'd had a gift in a way, and I wanted to pursue that, really. Selfish reasons, yes, I know. So I decided to do that. Look at this. What a view. Beautiful here. So I sat with Marianne Belfield for probably a year and a half, 2 years. It starts off a very basic sort of exercises to get your faculties moving. So it could be something that we did tea leaf reading, which is weird. It's not weird, but it's like, oh yeah, you hear about it, it's an old-fashioned thing. So basically you have a cup with some tea in it, you basically turn the dregs up on a saucer, and then you look at the patterns in the tea leaves, and your subconscious mind sees pictures, and then you can use that as a way to convey messages to people. So they would do their cup, and you would read their tea leaves, and they would read yours. And then we did a little bit of things like some tarot reading and stuff like that. But basically all these sort of things are a way of, I guess, experiencing your own subconscious. So it brings your subconscious into a clearer view. I never thought I would ever get up on the platform, because I'm a sensitive sort of person. I don't like being in the public eye, and I thought it would be the last thing I would ever do. Anyway, so I sat in these what they call circle groups, and basically would meditate for a little while, and then we would then practice, I guess, mediumship. It was a bit hit and miss, I suppose, but it's all part of the experience and the practice. And yeah, I had some success, and it was quite interesting. I enjoyed it. I met some like-minded people that were also interested in this sort of thing. Some of the people were amazing, really good. And you think, wow, you know. And some of them were on the platform. They would demonstrate. And so I think one day, I think Marion asked me if I would come and help her with a demonstration in Honiton. I'm like, oh God! So I said yes. I couldn't help it. So basically, what would happen was Medium would do the majority of the messages, and I maybe do one or two at the end. So I thought, okay, I'll do it. I felt pressurised, but I'll do it. So we went to Honiton. It was a spiritualist centre, so you don't have the churchy type service. It's basically just messages. And I'd got there, and it had been raining heavily, and the roads were flooded, and Marion was unable to get there. So basically, I had to take the service on my own. It was horrific. I was crap. Not very good at all. But that was my first baptism, I suppose, into mediumship. Marion was quite an old-fashioned sort of a medium. And then Lily, will you leave him alone, please? And then I started to work with another medium, or sit with another medium, and her group. Her name was Sandy Clark, lived in Branscombe. She was what they call an SNU medium, so she'd done lots of the legit courses at the Arthur Findlay College, the Spiritualist National Union headquarters of Great Britain. And they have very structured courses, and she gave me a way of working with my own gift, I guess, in a structured way. That helped me a great deal. And we did quite a few sort of group sessions where we go as a group and all give a couple of messages. And eventually I started out on my own and was able to go and work on my own around the south of the UK, Devon, Somerset, Cornwall. Yeah, always got so nervous about demonstrating, but I think the nerves are part of the attunement process. It's like you want to do well for the spirit world, and you know, it's such a privilege, really such a privilege to be able to be a part of the process, because that's what it is. You're part of the process, you're not the process. So obviously you have the spirit world, and the recipient and the medium, but also there's other factors as well. We have what they call spirit guides. I know it sounds a bit corny. Lily, will you get off him? She keeps mounting Jack. Stop it, it's naughty. We have a spirit guide which also helps in the process, and yeah, they help organise the spirits on the other side, if you like, and also help us decipher the communication. So basically the way that we would feel the communication is very varied, so it depends on the medium. Some mediums are like clairaudient, like I talked about earlier, where they hear. Some are clairsentient, which means feeling emotions and stuff. So any sense faculty that we have in our physical body can be duplicated in a psychic way. So you can smell aromas. It might be pipe tobacco, perfume, flowers. Taste, clairgustance. Obviously hear and feel physically in our bodies. And also there's another one which is called clair-knowing, which is where you get a basically big overall picture and feel of the whole situation. And that's where my strong point was. And I think because I was quite sensitive, I was open to spirit, they were able to basically almost walk right in and draw very close, and I could feel the whole you can feel the other person, you can feel the spirit person. It's such a privilege, especially when you can feel the emotion. It's like you can look at the recipient and you feel the love that they have for the recipient. It's absolutely so emotional. The amount of times that I cried on platform because of what I felt from the communicator. Such a privilege. Sometimes I would feel things like I was doing a demonstration in Exmouth, and I was communicating with this lady, and I had her husband there, and I had this sensation that my foot wasn't there. Basically, I had all these pins and needles in my right foot, and I said, I've got this sensation in my right leg. All I can feel is pins and needles. It's like I haven't got a foot. She says, yeah, that's my husband. He had his leg amputated. Stuff like that is really good evidence, isn't it? It's like evidence for me. It might be a personal evidence for the person that I'm giving the message for, but it's also personal evidence for me as the medium that, it really does work. So, we do get things wrong, of course we do. We make mistakes and misinterpret things. Sometimes the message could be for someone else completely, and that obviously looks like you're doing a bad job. Mediums are only human beings. So, yeah, it's a little bit of insight into how it works. I used to use the word cert for working, so it was a way of structuring my mediumship that Sandy taught me, and it was a C is for clarify who it is, the communicator, and then you give evidence. E is for evidence, so you give evidence to prove that. R is for reason for coming, and predominantly that reason is to give a message of love, and often to say sorry, to say how sorry they are. Because people that are in the spirit world can't move on until they have difficulty moving on until they've been able to say sorry, or to say something very simple like I love you that they were unable to convey when they were here on the earth. And I think medium plays important role in that healing process. So it is a healing process for the spirit people and for the people that are still here on the earth, And as I say, it is such a privilege. So that's often the reason for coming, and the T is to tie it all up at the end, tie it all up, finish off the message, move on to the next message. I wasn't particularly fast. Some people were very fast, but if I got a good connection, I would often linger on it because I didn't want to let it go, because it can be a bit hit and miss. That was one of the reasons. And I think, when I think back over the process, it's about trusting. It's really about trusting our instincts, trusting what we're receiving, trusting what we're feeling in our hearts, and quite often we don't. So we just blindly flounder around in this physical world, not really going anywhere. So we try to fill up our time with physical pursuits, gaining material things, filling our life with stuff, but it all seems so futile because we can take none of it with us. And this spiritual dimension is I won't say it's the whole way forward, but it's a way of opening our minds to a greater reality, that we exist beyond physical life, that there's more to life than physical. It's just an aspect of it. So it points the way. Some mediums are what they call trance mediums as well, and I was leaning towards trance mediumship. It's my natural thing. Whereas rather than try to clumsily convey a message, you just get yourself out of the way and let them do it through you. It's quite amazing. It's quite an amazing process to observe yourself, because you're not totally gone. Some people are, but I wasn't. I was, aware of what I was saying and the sensations in my body, but I was observing it from outside. And it's trust. You have a lot of trust. Your guides help organise, and you feel safe. You trust and you feel safe. And the process just unfolds. I used to really enjoy that. And some of the people that come through during trance, you feel so much love, just unconditional love, absolutely moves you to sobbing state of snot and tears, and afterwards you feel quite tender-hearted. Eventually it wears off, and that's what makes you realise that what you're doing is feeling the elevated state of being of the other communicator, the guides, the wise ones that come through. And after several days you sort of return to normal consciousness, so it sort of shows us that what the feelings and the love we experienced were not ours. We were feeling that through them. But also this points as a marker, a sign that because that feeling that feeling is glorious. So it shows us that this is the path forward for humanity. This is our spiritual path. It's not one of exploring phenomena. Phenomena's good, but it's really one of exploring the capabilities of our own hearts and minds. It's unlocking our potential to love unconditionally. And in order to do that, we have to overcome the obstacles. This is where it all really blends into what I'm doing now with Buddhism meditation. So through meditation, basically it's self-psychology. We're looking at the things that block us from feeling into our own hearts and minds. And it's been a long process, and I'm still within the process, but I can see an unfoldment happening. I'm a gentler, more loving person, more capable of being open. I think a lot of it is actually being able to sit with your own pain. When you can sit with your own pain, you can be with the pain of others as well. That's where it starts to really blossom. Your heart starts to really blossom and feel a genuine love for other people, even the arseholes. So I've still got a lot more of other sort of things that I want to talk about. In the next episode, I want to talk a little bit about my experience of physical mediumship. So all the things I've been discussing so far are very much mental mediumship, and there's another aspect to mediumship called physical mediumship, which can be verified, measured, touched. And that's quite interesting. So if you stick around and tune into the next one, I'll talk a little bit about that and a little bit more about the unfolding process. And I guess I'd like to say, trust yourself. Trust your heart. I had someone talking the other day, and they said, no one needs to tell a tree how to grow. No one needs to tell the wind how to blow or a fire how to flame. No one needs to tell us how to love and how to be ourselves. We can just trust. And trust what we're receiving is what we're receiving. It's just part of our experience, you know? And I think what holds a lot of people back from trusting is, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going to go mad. You can talk to your loved ones. I don't think it's something that's unique to me or a few other individuals. I think we're just taking that step towards a greater reality. It's as simple as that. And if I can do it, you can do it. I think, when something happens, someone can trigger that initial opening, and then we can then hold it open if we choose to. Say for instance, your friend comes round. You open the door, you let him in. He's talking to you, but you don't talk back to him. You're not really listening. He's not going to hang around for long. It's the same with the spirit world, with the people that love you. They're not just going to hang around if you don't talk to them. You have to invite them, and invite them in. You have to talk to them, communicate with them. You might not always be able to hear what they're saying, but they will make their presence known and felt in some way, shape or form. Believe me. Trust yourself. And it's not a door that can never be closed again. We return to normal everyday consciousness. After a mediumship session, we return to normal consciousness. When I stand up, or when I used to stand on the platform, I would say, okay, anything that I receive and feel now is my mediumship. I'll put my medium hat on. When I finished, back to normal everyday consciousness, Nicholas. It's as simple as that. So you need some form of discipline. You don't remain open all the time. Open to life. Open your hearts and your minds. It's so beautiful. This is the liberation we've been seeking. Anyway, that's enough for now. Hope you've enjoyed it, and also I do welcome your comments and any questions or any observations, or even some of your experiences. Tell me about what you've felt, what you've seen, what you've experienced. Tell me about what's in your heart. Ask me a question. I might not know the answer, but I will try. Anyway, that's enough for now. Lots of love. Take care. Bye-bye.